How long has it been since you truly felt a day with all your heart? Perhaps for a long time, we have gotten used to the hurried pace of life. Waking up in the morning, reaching for the phone, quickly scrolling through news and work notifications, then rushing through countless tasks, only to realize at the end of the day that we have passed each hour, each minute in haste, without fully living in any moment. Thank you for being with the channel Let Go, Find Peace. Please subscribe now to rediscover tranquility in life. The Buddha's teachings on mindfulness are like a soft bell, reminding us to return to the present moment. Mindfulness is not only a practice, but also an art of truly being present in every moment. It helps us realize that each breath, each step, each gaze, and each smile is a miracle when we take the time to feel it. Mindfulness begins with the smallest things. When drinking a glass of water, we feel the coolness on our lips, nourishing every cell. When eating a meal, we carefully observe the colors of the food, breathe in the fragrance to savor the flavors. When walking, we truly listen to the sound of our footsteps, feel our heartbeat, breath, and the support of the earth beneath our feet. When we live with awareness, the soul becomes lighter. We begin to notice that we often lose the present moment by worrying about the future or regretting the past. The Buddha once taught that all we have is this moment. The past is gone, the future has not yet come, and the present is the only gift we should cherish and live fully. Awakening is also a form of healing. When we are truly present, we see clearly our inner emotions, joy, sadness, anger, or hurt. Instead of avoiding them, we smile and breathe with them. We learn to observe without judgment, letting emotions come and go like clouds in the sky. Just like rain that falls and then stops, sadness will fade when we accept it as part of the natural flow. Many people search for peace in distant places, forgetting that true peace starts from within. Mindfulness helps us return to ourselves, seeing that peace is not the absence of storms, but a solid harbor amidst all the changes. The Buddha's teachings on mindfulness also open the way for a deeper love. When we are fully present, we can listen to others with our whole heart, without interrupting or rushing to judge. We can look into someone's eyes and truly see them, their joys, their sorrows, and the things they haven't spoken. In every hug, every handshake, every word spoken, we offer our full presence, the most precious gift anyone can give to another. Living with awareness is also learning to be grateful. We are grateful for the breath that sustains us, for our eyes to see the beauty around us, for our hands to touch love, and for our feet to walk to the places we desire. We are grateful for the difficulties, for they help us grow and understand the value of peace. When mindfulness becomes a part of each day, we will realize that we no longer chase happiness in some distant place. Happiness is not found in grand things, but in the present moment, when we are truly alive. It could be the bright laughter of children, the aroma of a morning cup of coffee, or the brilliant sunset at the end of the day. The Buddha once compared our minds to a lake. When the mind is disturbed by anxiety, greed, or anger, the surface of the lake ripples, and we cannot see its depth. But when we know how to breathe slowly, staying in the present, the lake will calm, and we will see everything clearly. Mindfulness is the breeze that calms that lake of the soul. If every day we take a few minutes to sit still, close our eyes, breathe slowly, and feel the life flowing within us, we will find our hearts becoming calm. We will see that despite the noise outside, we still have a peaceful sky inside to return to. Finally, mindfulness is not a rigid technique, but a way of life. It is a choice we make each day to stay in the moment, to listen instead of reacting hastily, to love instead of judge. When we walk this path, every moment becomes a flower blooming in our soul. And you will realize that the most precious thing is not what we accumulate, but every moment we have truly lived with all our heart. Perhaps sometimes we are too busy to realize that every passing moment is a precious gift. We often immerse ourselves in the worries of yesterday or plans for tomorrow, forgetting that the only thing we truly own is the present. Looking out the window, the birds flying across the sky, the leaves rustling in the wind, Everything reminds us that this world continues to flow, moment by moment, and we can only live in the now. There is a small story I once heard, simple yet deeply ingrained in my mind. One afternoon, a person was strolling in the park and saw an elderly woman sitting on a bench, intently watching the birds searching for food. The person approached, struck up a conversation, and asked her about the secret to happiness. The elderly woman smiled, her eyes radiating serenity. Dear, happiness is not found in the past or future. It is right in this moment when you are breathing, looking, and feeling. The person looked at the birds, felt the wind through their hair and the warmth of the sunlight, and suddenly realized how many moments like this they had missed. The present, simple yet profound. When we enjoy a cup of hot tea, when we hear the laughter of children, when we feel the warm hand of a loved one, that is the moment we touch the true value of life. It is not what is past or what is yet to come, but this very moment. If we learn to cherish every moment, we will no longer regret the things we haven't done or mourn the things we've lost. There are days when everything seems dull and the burdens of worry weigh heavily on our hearts. But all we need is to slow down, take a deep breath, listen to our heartbeat, and observe the world around us, and we will notice the inherent beauty. A smile, a word of greeting, a sudden light rain, these are all living moments that we often overlook. It is in these small details that the present becomes meaningful and filled with emotion. The value of the present moment is also shown in its healing power. When our minds are too focused on the past or worried about the future, we easily become stressed and troubled. But if we can focus on the present, if we can stop to feel each breath, each step we take, we will find peace. A few quiet minutes in the woods or by a window can soothe the soul, bringing positive energy and the calm we constantly seek. Once, a friend shared with me that she had been upset about losing her job, worried about the future, and almost forgot about the simple joys around her. Then one day, she sat by the riverbank, watching the late afternoon sunlight reflecting off the water, and realized that she was still breathing, still had the opportunity to start over. From that moment on, she learned to appreciate each day, each moment, realizing that happiness is not a destination, but the journey we are living right now. Everyday experiences often serve as the clearest proof of the value of the present. A family meal, sincere conversations, the sound of rain falling on the roof, the smile of a neighbor. These are all living moments that we can feel if we know how to stop. When we learn to appreciate the present, we no longer get swept up in the endless cycle of worries, and we'll see how happiness is actually close and simple. What's important is to listen to ourselves and the world around us. A moment to pause and breathe, a word of thanks, a hug, seemingly small, but carrying the energy to transform the soul. These moments teach us that life doesn't always require grand or distant things. It lies in being fully present in every breath, every true emotion. The present also teaches us gratitude. When we live in this moment, we realize all that we have: our health, love, our companions, and even the challenges that help us grow. Every second is an opportunity to learn, to experience, to love, and to heal. Living fully in the present is how we appreciate ourselves and everything around us, how we truly live rather than just exist. In the end, the value of the present moment is a reminder of how precious we truly are. No matter how much the noise and rush of the world steal time from us, we can always return to the present, to our breath, to our hearts. Every day, every hour, every minute is an opportunity to live fully, to give love, to feel, and to be grateful. If we know how to cherish every moment, slow down and observe, we will see that happiness is not something distant, but right here in this moment, where we are standing, breathing, and living. And in that simplicity, our souls will find deep peace, and each day that passes, whether simple or difficult, will become a precious gift, a lesson, an experience to be cherished. Because the present is the only thing we truly have, and when we know how to hold it, appreciate it, and live fully with it, we truly understand the meaning of life. In today's fast-paced life, people easily forget the most important thing, the present moment. We often live in a hurry, chasing after plans, worrying about the future, or regretting the past. But the Buddha taught that all we truly have is the present. And to fully embrace each of those moments, we need mindfulness, clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, and feeling. Mindfulness is the light that guides the way, helping our minds stay alert and peaceful. When we eat, mindfulness is not just chewing and swallowing, but experiencing the sweetness, the fragrance, the warmth of the food. When we walk, mindfulness is not just moving from point A to point B, but being aware of each step, each breath, each breeze caressing our skin. When we converse, mindfulness helps us listen completely, to look deeply into the eyes of the person opposite and feel the emotions, the unspoken words in them. Living mindfully does not mean life becomes without difficulties. On the contrary, mindfulness helps us embrace our emotions, joy, sadness, anger, or hurt, in a natural and gentle way. When we recognize sadness, instead of avoiding it or trying to push it away, we smile, breathe with it, and let it pass like clouds in the sky. When we feel anger, instead of reacting hastily, we observe the emotion, see it clearly, then slowly let it go, restoring peace to our hearts. Mindfulness is also a path to healing. It helps us reconnect with ourselves, to feel whole and complete, even when the external world is chaotic. When our mind knows how to stop and listen, we realize that the wounds inside us are not burdens to hide, but opportunities for growth, to understand ourselves and others better. Every breath, every heartbeat is proof of life and the miraculous ability to heal that the Buddha always reminds us of. Mindfulness also opens the door to deeper love. When we are fully present, we listen with our whole heart, seeing the joy, the sorrow, and even the unspoken words of others. In every hug, every word, every gesture, we give our true presence, the most precious gift anyone can offer to each other. This presence not only heals others, but also soothes the conflicts and wounds within our own hearts. Living with mindfulness is also learning to be grateful. Grateful for the breath that nourishes our body. Grateful for the eyes that allow us to see the beauty around us. Grateful for the hands that touch love, and grateful for the feet that carry us forward. Grateful even for the hardships, because they help us understand the value of peace and happiness. From gratitude arises love, from love arises gentleness, and from that gentleness, our souls find peace. Mindfulness is not a rigid technique. It is a way of life, a daily choice, choosing to be present rather than overlook, choosing to listen rather than judge, choosing to love rather than react. When we practice mindfulness, every moment becomes precious. We realize that happiness is not in grand or distant things, but in every breath, every smile, every gaze we dedicate fully to the present. The Buddha once compared the mind to a lake. When disturbed by anxiety, greed, or anger, the lake ripples and we cannot see the depths. Mindfulness is like a gentle breeze that calms the lake, allowing the soul to return to stillness. When the mind is still, we see clearly, recognize the value of the present, and can live fully in every moment, not missing the miracles around us. When we take a few minutes each day to breathe slowly, close our eyes, and feel our body and soul, we will notice our hearts calm. We will realize that peace is not far away, but exists in every small moment. In the sunlight streaming through the window, in the sound of birds singing outside, in the warmth of a cup of tea spreading across our palms. Living with mindfulness means living awake, learning to be present, learning to love, and learning to be grateful. When we realize this, every moment becomes a flower blooming in the soul. Every breath, every step, every gaze becomes whole and valuable. And in the end, you will realize that the most precious thing is not what we accumulate, but the moments we have fully lived with all our heart. This very moment, the moment you read these lines, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to recognize, to love, to heal, and to truly live. Sometimes, amid the busyness and the rush of life, people exist but do not truly be present. Many wake up every morning, go to work, meet others, but their minds wander somewhere, to the past with its regrets, or to the future with anxieties that have not yet happened. At that moment, the body is present, but the soul is absent. Life passes by, precious moments slip away, and sometimes we don't realize how many simple but meaningful things we have missed. There is a small story that was told about a man who walked through the same street every morning, seeing familiar shops, familiar faces, but never stopping to observe. He was busy thinking about work, about tomorrow, about past mistakes, forgetting that there was still so much beauty around him. One day, as it rained lightly, he rushed down the familiar street, and a sudden gust of wind blew an umbrella away from a child walking with her mother. The man stopped, bent down to help the child pick up the umbrella, and in that moment, he suddenly realized that for the first time in many years, he was truly paying attention to life around him. A small smile, a simple thank you, but it made him feel warm, full of life, something he had never felt during the busy years filled with the past and future. Living as if we are absent not only makes us miss small joys, but also leaves our soul dry and weary. When we constantly jump from memories to worries, from regrets to expectations, we do not give ourselves the opportunity to truly experience. A sunny afternoon, a warm cup of tea, the laughter of children in the yard, birds soaring across the sky, all these are living moments we miss when our minds are not in the present. When we learn to stop, observe, and feel, we will realize that every moment is precious and worth cherishing. Once a friend told me about a time when he was too immersed in work, always worrying about unfinished projects and uncertain outcomes. Every evening, he would return home, drowned in thoughts and plans for the next day, and peaceful evenings with his family would pass by unnoticed. One day, when he saw his child laughing with a cat in the yard, he suddenly stopped, watched, and felt the simple joy. That present moment made him realize that happiness is not in grand achievements or long-term plans, but in the full moments, the presence of the heart and soul right now. Living fully in each moment is a great lesson. When we are present, when we listen to ourselves and the world around us, we will notice how many simple yet beautiful things have passed by our eyes. A breeze blows through, the scent of flowers lingers, the rustling of leaves underfoot, all have the power to soothe the soul, to push away stress and anxiety. On the contrary, when the mind is absent, we easily feel empty, disconnected, and sometimes a vague sense of exhaustion clings to us every day. Living as if absent also makes us forget gratitude. When we are too busy with the past and the future, we all fail to recognize what we have: our health, our loved ones, the simple yet fulfilling experiences. If we focus on the present, if we stop and appreciate what is happening right now, we will find that happiness is close, not something distant or hard to grasp. A family meal, a word of care, a friendly glance on the street, all are simple miracles if we are truly present. There are times when living in the present also means accepting the emotions we have, whether sadness, joy, worry, or happiness. Accepting that we cannot control everything in the past or future, but we can enjoy and cherish the moment right in front of us. A few quiet minutes, a slow hug, a sincere word, seemingly small, but they can heal the soul and enrich our life experience. Everyday stories often teach us more deeply than any philosophy. One afternoon, a man stood by the riverbank, watching the slow-moving water, and realized that his past worries were nothing more than fleeting clouds. He smiled, sighed, and realized that if he was not present right now, he would miss the most peaceful and precious moments. When we learn to live fully in the present, our soul becomes lighter, and each day becomes a gift, a valuable experience, an opportunity to learn, love, and truly live. Living fully in the moment is also a way to connect with others. When we are present, we truly listen, we truly observe and feel. A conversation becomes warm, a smile becomes meaningful, and simple actions bring joy to both ourselves and those around us. On the other hand, if we are always rushing with thoughts of the past or future, these moments pass by without leaving any mark, and we feel empty, even though we are still living, normally. Finally, living fully in each moment is how we find ourselves again. When we know how to stop, observe, feel, and appreciate, we will see that happiness is not something far away or complicated. It exists in simple things, in small moments, in every breath, every gaze, every smile. When we no longer live as if we are absent, we truly live, truly feel, and truly appreciate this life, every second and every minute. Being present in every moment not only helps us find peace, but also brings deep meaning to every action, every relationship, and to ourselves. Every moment is an opportunity to live fully, to love, to experience, and to heal. When the soul is present, every step, every breath, every gaze becomes complete, and life, whether simple or difficult, remains a wonderful journey to be cherished. Breath is the anchor that keeps us in the present. When our minds are rushing, when worries and calculations pull us in all directions, just one slow breath, one deep inhale is enough to bring us back, to remind us that all that truly exists is this moment. The Buddha teaches mindfulness, clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, feeling, is the ability to live with every breath, every moment, to know that we are truly present. Mindfulness is not just meditation or an abstract technique. It is the way we listen to our body and soul, the way we touch every rhythm of life fully. When we eat, mindfulness helps us taste, feel the warmth of the food, the sweetness or slight bitterness, the fragrance that lingers on our tongue. When we walk, mindfulness is realizing each step, each heartbeat, each breeze that brushes against our skin. When we talk, mindfulness helps us listen with our whole heart, to see the emotions, joys, and unspoken words of the person in front of us. Living mindfully with breath helps the soul to calm down. We realize that sadness, anger, worry, or unease are just temporary emotions like clouds drifting across the sky. When we stop, breathe deeply, and observe them, we are no longer swept away by the emotion. We learn to accept and let go, to see each feeling and let it pass, bringing peace back to the soul. Mindfulness is the path to healing. When we are present, we reconnect with ourselves, recognize our wounds, and understand that they are not burdens to hide, but opportunities to grow. Every breath, every heartbeat is proof of life and the miraculous capacity to heal that the Buddha always reminds us of. Through mindfulness, we learn to face pain, not avoid it, not suppress it, but let it flow naturally, like water flowing over rocks, cleansing and smoothing the soul. Breath is also a bridge to more complete love. When we are present in every moment, we listen to others with our whole heart. We see their joy, sadness, and even the things left unsaid. Every hug, every word, every gesture becomes sincere, offering true presence, the most precious gift that no material object can replace. Love begins with true presence, with listening, and with recognizing the value of each person, each moment. Living with mindfulness also means learning gratitude. Grateful for the breath that nourishes the body, grateful for the eyes that see the beautiful things, grateful for the hands to touch love, and grateful for the feet to walk. Grateful for the hardships because they help us grow and deeply understand the value of peace and happiness. From gratitude arises love, from love arises gentleness, and from that gentleness our soul will find peace. Mindfulness is not a rigid technique, but a way of life, a daily choice. The choice to be present rather than overlook, the choice to listen rather than judge, the choice to love rather than react. When we practice mindfulness, each moment becomes precious. Happiness is not in great or distant things, but in every breath, every smile, every gaze that we devote entirely to the present. The Buddha likened the mind to a calm lake. When disturbed by anxiety, anger, or greed, the lake ripples, preventing us from seeing its depths. Mindfulness is like a gentle breeze that calms the lake, helping the soul return to stillness. When the mind is still, we can clearly see everything, recognize the value of the present, and live fully in each moment without missing the miracles around us. When we take a few minutes every day to breathe slowly, close our eyes, and feel our body and soul, our heart will calm down. We will realize that peace is not far away, but exists in each moment. In the sunlight streaming through the window, in the birds singing outside, in the warmth of tea spreading through our hands. Living with mindfulness is living awake, is learning how to be present, to love, and to be grateful. When we realize this, each moment becomes a blooming flower in our soul. Each breath, each step, each gaze becomes complete and precious. Ultimately, the most precious thing is not what we accumulate, but the moments we live fully with all our hearts. Every breath is a gift to recognize, love, heal, and truly live right in this moment. Every day, when doing what may seem like the simplest tasks, people can still find serenity, peace, and a quiet joy. Small things like brewing tea, washing dishes, or sweeping the floor may seem like everyday activities, but if we truly focus, they become a form of meditation, a way to calm the soul and be filled with life. In the rush of modern life, when everything seems hurried and frantic, paying attention to small actions is a reminder that peace is not always found in distant places, but can always be found in simple moments around us. Making tea, from choosing the leaves, measuring the right amount, pouring boiling water, and waiting for the tea to steep, all require mindfulness. If we rush, we might miss the faint fragrance, the gentle taste of the tea, and the warmth that spreads from our hands to our body. But when we quietly pay attention, each action becomes meaningful, and every gesture carries the rhythm of breath, the rhythm of the heart, and the full presence of ourselves. Just a few minutes of making tea can bring calm to the soul, like a quiet morning listening to birds singing or feeling the gentle sunlight. Washing dishes is not just about cleaning up. When our hands touch the dishes, when cool water flows through our fingers, when soap bubbles dissolve in the running water, everything becomes a small ritual. If done hastily, the dishes are just clean, but the soul still carries the weight of busyness and worries. If we slow down, washing each dish, feeling the smoothness of the bubbles, hearing the water flow gently, our hearts will lighten. In this way, each clean dish is not just an outer completion, but an inner cleansing, a quiet way to focus and cultivate mindfulness. Sweeping the floor is the same. When sweeping, paying attention to each speck of dust, each small piece, each corner of the room, we are also sweeping away the clutter in our minds. Each sweep of the broom on the floor is like each deep breath. Each gesture in caring for the living space is also a way of caring for the soul. Even lifting the broom, bending down, and observing every corner of the floor becomes a gentle exercise to train presence, to realize that every action, no matter how small, can be a form of meditation if done with full intention. In reality, many people find peace in what might seem like trivial tasks. One morning, after tidying up the kitchen, sitting down with a cup of tea, they realize their soul has calmed down and all the fatigue seems to disappear. Or on certain afternoons, after sweeping the garden, watching the leaves sway in the wind, they feel lighthearted. The spirit is more peaceful, as if revived. These moments remind us that mindfulness does not necessarily mean sitting in meditation in a quiet room, but can be present in every ordinary gesture, in every act of self-care and care for the space around us. Mindfulness in small tasks is also a way to connect more deeply with the present. When we pay attention to every detail, every sensation, every sound, we truly live in the moment. Instead of letting our minds wander, thinking about what needs to be done today or what was left undone yesterday, we stop and feel. Brewing tea, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, all become opportunities to breathe, to look, to listen to ourselves and the world around us. The joy from these simple actions does not need to be sought far away. It appears right here in every moment of the present. Furthermore, practicing mindfulness in small tasks carries a profound message about the way we live. It teaches us that happiness doesn't always come from great achievements, praise, or fame. Happiness can be found in gentle gestures, in caring for ourselves and others, in the attention and stillness we give to each action. When we slow down, when we do small tasks with a wholehearted mind, we realize that every moment is precious, and it is that presence that creates a deep and lasting joy. A simple everyday story illustrates this clearly. Someone wakes up early each morning to prepare breakfast for the family. As they cook, they pay attention to each ingredient, each scent, the movements of the fire and water. Not rushing, not stressing, just fully present in the task. When breakfast is ready and everyone gathers around, they find joy not in a lavish or complete meal, but in the connection, in the attention, and in the love shared in every action. Those moments become meditation, a way of nourishing the soul and happiness. These small daily tasks also help us understand every action matters and has value. When sweeping the floor, washing dishes, or brewing tea mindfully, we practice patience, attention to detail, and love. These qualities not only make life gentler, but also form a strong foundation for a life of kindness and completeness. Mindfulness in small tasks is also a way to nurture gratitude. Gratitude for the simple things, for the present moments, and for the seemingly small things that bring profound value. Therefore, every time we clean, cook, or do any daily task, let us give our full attention. Let each gesture, each action, each breath become a form of meditation, a way of living with meaning. Mindfulness in small tasks not only brings peace to the soul, but also helps us grow, realize the value of simple things, and nurture lasting happiness. When we live fully in each moment, in each small action, we will realize that we don't need to seek greatness outside for happiness. From brewing a cup of tea, washing dishes, sweeping fallen leaves on the floor, to carefully folding towels or organizing books, everything becomes an opportunity to nourish the soul, to experience the beauty of the present, and to realize that true happiness is always present in the small details of everyday life. Eating mindfully is one of the simplest ways to practice mindfulness. When we hold the chopsticks, the spoon, we don't rush to put food in our mouths, but stop to feel the taste, the texture, and the sound. We see how each meal becomes a vibrant experience. The aroma of the food spreads, the spices gently touch the sense of smell, the sweetness, sourness, saltiness, bitterness, or umami fills the tongue. The soft, crispy, or chewy textures are savored slowly, and the sounds of biting or chewing become part of the experience. All of these seemingly small details, when fully recognized, help calm the soul, allowing us to be present in each moment. The Buddha taught mindfulness, clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, feeling, as the foundation for healing, for the soul to find peace. When we eat hastily, most of the time our minds are not really present. We think about work, worries, plans, and miss the full experience of the meal. But when we eat mindfully, each bite, each breath becomes an opportunity to return to the present, to see life flowing through the body, to cherish the simple yet complete gift nature gives us. Living mindfully through eating is also a way of healing. When we recognize each sensation in our mouth, each flavor, each emotion that arises, we learn to observe without judgment. Joy or sorrow, haste or pressure, all are seen gently. When emotions come, we don't run away or deny them, but quietly observe, letting them pass like water flowing through cracks in the stone. In this slowness, our soul is soothed, tension and fatigue gradually dissolve, making way for peace and calm. Eating mindfully also helps us connect with our body, with ourselves. We realize what our body needs, how much is enough, the feeling of fullness, hunger, the balance between food and energy. Through eating slowly and listening to our body, we learn to love and care for ourselves. This love and presence not only heal us, but also spread to those around us, because when our soul is calm, our gaze and gestures become gentler and warmer. When we eat mindfully, we also learn gratitude. Gratitude for the hands that prepared the food, gratitude for the ingredients gifted by the earth and sky, gratitude for the body's ability to nourish and sustain life. This gratitude makes each meal sacred, turning the ordinary into a daily miracle. Mindful eating is the foundation for expanding awareness in all activities. When we pay attention to every bite, every breath, and every emotion, we will also pay more attention to each step, each word, and each action throughout the day. Every moment becomes complete. Every second turns into a precious gift. Happiness is no longer something distant. It exists in every breath, every bite, every glance. The Buddha once compared our mind to the surface of a lake. When anxiety, anger, or greed stirs it, the lake ripples, making it hard to see the depths. Eating mindfully is like a gentle breeze calming the surface of the lake. The soul becomes still, the senses are awakened, and we can see everything clearly. We realize that happiness is simple and surrounds us, the aroma of freshly cooked rice, the colors of vegetables, the sizzle when food touches the pan. Through mindful eating, we learn to live in the present, to love, and to be grateful. Each breath, every bite, every heartbeat becomes precious. When the mind is no longer running away to the past or future, when we are truly present, every moment becomes a flower blooming in our soul. And in the end, we will realize that the most precious thing is not what we own or achieve, but the moments we live fully, with all our hearts. Eating mindfully is one of the easiest ways to return to ourselves, to heal, to feel, and to truly live, right at this moment. Listening is an art, a slow journey to touch the deepest parts of someone else's soul. It's not just about hearing words, but about understanding the feelings, emotions, and thoughts behind them. In the hustle and bustle of life, people often just listen mechanically, responding carelessly, without truly understanding or feeling. However, when we listen deeply, every moment of conversation becomes an opportunity to empathize, to connect, and to bring souls together. One afternoon, someone sits with friends at a cafe. The conversation flows gently, but when paying attention, one might notice the other's gaze is slightly sad, their voice softer than usual. If we just hear the words, we might miss that and respond habitually, letting the conversation pass. But by stopping, looking into their eyes, sensing their breath, hearing the silence between the words, the other person suddenly opens up, sharing deep concerns. Just one complete act of listening can bring comfort, helping someone feel understood and less alone. Deep listening is not just about spending time with someone, it's also about cultivating patience and perseverance. Some stories cannot be rushed. When someone shares a loss, a sorrow, or a failure, listening superficially might make them feel abandoned or disrespected. But by listening to every detail, every emotional beat, we realize that our full presence, quiet and attentive, becomes a valuable gift. The speaker does not only need advice, they need to be seen, understood, and sometimes a sympathetic glance or a gentle nod can soothe them. In everyday moments when a friend shares their sadness about work, family, or life pressures, the spoken words might just be the tip of the iceberg. The real feelings lie deep beneath, in the silences, in hesitant words, or empty stares. Deep listening is the skill to see that iceberg, to recognize the true emotions, and to respond with empathy instead of judgment. This is how we plant seeds of trust, creating sincere and lasting connections. A simple story about listening can be seen in everyday conversations. One morning, over tea with loved ones, someone begins to talk about a difficult day. The small details, the scattered words, could easily be overlooked if we listen hastily. But when we listen deeply, paying attention to tone, pauses, repeated words, we can sense the worry, fatigue, or even the small joy that hasn't been fully expressed. Just by listening completely, the speaker feels comforted, and the listener learns empathy, valuing each sincere moment in communication. Deep listening is also a way to learn. Every person carries their own world, a unique perspective, and an untold story. When we listen, we not only understand others, but we also understand ourselves more. We learn to recognize the emotions, needs, and desires of others, and in turn reflect on ourselves, adjusting our behavior and expanding our hearts. It is in these silent moments of listening that the values of life, wisdom, and ethics naturally appear, like seeds quietly falling, sowing in the soul. Sometimes, just a few minutes of listening can make a big difference. A neighbor, a colleague, or a family member, when truly listened to, suddenly opens up, feeling lighter, as if releasing the burdens in their heart. These moments also teach us lessons in respect and patience. Listening is not just an action, it's a way of life, a way of showing love and genuine concern. In the practice of Buddhism, deep listening also embodies the meaning of mindfulness and compassion. It's not just about hearing with the ears, but also listening with the heart. Listening to understand, listening to empathize, listening without judgment, and without overlooking. The mindfulness in each moment of listening helps expand the heart, allowing us to recognize that each person has their own pain, joy, and uncertainty, and that all of it deserves to be valued. One evening, While gathered around a family dinner table, someone shares their thoughts about an important decision at work. If others only listen superficially, the conversation will pass without anyone truly understanding. But when we stop, look into their eyes, listen to their breath, and sense the tremor in their voice, everyone will see the anxiety, hope, and loneliness behind the words. This listening not only brings peace to the speaker, but also makes the relationship warmer and more intimate. The moments of deep listening remind us that the value of a person lies not only in their accomplishments or words, but also in how we are present and care for each other. When we listen, we offer trust, understanding, and love. Even the smallest acts, pausing when someone speaks, not interrupting, paying attention to emotions, become meaningful actions, lessons in how to live kindly, deeply, and completely. Deep listening also teaches humility. We cannot know everything in someone else's world. We cannot predict their emotions or thoughts. Only when we are patient and truly listen can we really understand and empathize. And it is this patience that helps our souls expand, become lighter, and develop empathy for those around us. In the end, deep listening is a way to nurture happiness and peace in life. It helps us realize that every person has their own story, that every word contains emotions and meaning. When we stop and listen with our whole heart, we not only help others feel understood, but we also learn to slow down, feel the present, and appreciate the genuine connections around us. By simply listening deeply, we will find that joy, peace, and love are always present in every word, every glance, and every ordinary moment. When we give someone our full attention, we offer more than words or actions. We give the truest part of our soul. The Buddha teaches mindfulness, clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, and feeling, not only as a practice, but as a way to love and heal deeply. By being fully present, we create a peaceful space where both the giver and the receiver feel understood and cherished. Presence starts with the simplest things, but holds great meaning. When conversing with someone, instead of talking while looking at a phone or thinking about other things, we focus on listening to every word, every breath, and every glance. We don't just listen with our ears, we feel with our hearts. When we look deeply into someone's eyes, seeing their sorrow, joy, worry, or happiness, we give them true presence. This gift cannot be bought with money, cannot be replaced by material things, but is more valuable than any wealth. Being fully present is also a way of healing. When we listen and empathize, the wounds in someone else's heart have a chance to soften. No advice, no solution is needed. Just being there, fully present, feeling their emotions, is enough to soothe the silent pain. The Buddha once taught that compassion grows strong when we are present with others, not judging, not running from emotions, but simply being fully present with them. Presence also opens the door to self-love. When we know how to pay attention to others, we also learn to pay attention to ourselves, listening to our bodies, recognizing emotions, and understanding the needs of our souls. When our hearts are calm and present, stress, anxiety, or unease begin to fade. We learn to love ourselves, and from there, we love others deeply and naturally. Mindfulness and presence helps us see the value in each moment. No grand actions are needed, no flowery words, just a look, a smile, a gentle touch, and our love is given. When we are truly present, others feel the care and understanding, and they feel cherished. This is the magic of presence, healing, connecting, and creating warmth between people. Presence is also a way to express gratitude. Gratitude for those who are with us, for the experiences, for the moments we live fully together. When we appreciate every second, every breath, every glance, our hearts become gentler and simple happiness blooms. Gratitude not only lightens the soul, but helps us realize that happiness is not distant, but exists right in this moment. When we practice presence every day, each moment becomes precious. In every meal, we savor the taste, aroma, and texture of food. In every conversation, we listen deeply, seeing others with our whole heart. In every small action, we pay complete attention, making every gesture full. Every moment becomes a flower blooming in the soul, making life more meaningful and emotionally rich. The Buddha compares the mind to the surface of a lake. When stirred by anxiety, anger, or greed, the lake ripples and we can't see the bottom. Presence is like a gentle breeze that calms the lake's surface, helping the soul become still. When the mind is still, we see everything clearly, recognize the value of the present, and can live fully in each moment without missing the magic around us. Presence is a gift not only for others, but also for oneself. When we give, we receive peace, gentleness, and simple happiness in return. Every breath, every glance, every smile becomes precious. When the mind no longer runs away to the past or future, when we are truly present, every moment becomes a miracle, healing and opening the door to complete love. And in the end, you will realize that the most valuable thing is not what we own or achieve, but the moments we live fully with all our hearts and the invisible gifts we give through our presence. This moment, as you read these words, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to recognize, love, heal, and truly live. In today's fast-paced life, people often race against time, work, goals, and daily pressures. Everything seems to have to be done quickly, in large quantities, and efficiently. But in our rush, we often overlook the most important things: our own breath, the beauty of small moments, and the subtle emotions within our souls. Slowing down is not weakness or procrastination. It is to look deeper, to fully experience each moment, to see more clearly what is happening around and inside of us. One morning, when the soft sunlight filters through the leaves and we walk slowly on the small path around the house, we can hear the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the scent of the damp earth after last night's rain. If we rush, these details will pass by unnoticed. But when we slow down, each step becomes a rhythm of meditation, the heartbeat in sync with the rhythm of nature. Every sound, every scent, every ray of light becomes alive, calming the soul and making us feel deeply connected with the world around us. Slowing down also helps us recognize the value of small things in everyday life. Brewing tea, washing dishes, sweeping the floor, or organizing books. When done hastily, they are just tasks to finish. But when done slowly, paying attention to every movement, every detail, each action becomes a way to train the mind, a form of modern meditation. Just a few minutes of full concentration, feeling every drop of tea, every sound of flowing water, every sweep of the broom across the floor, the soul becomes lighter, more peaceful, and more serene. By slowing down, we see life in every small detail and understand that true joy does not always come from grand or distant things. One afternoon, when listening to a friend share their thoughts, if we only listen superficially, we may miss the sadness, worry, or exhaustion hidden in their voice and eyes. But when we slow down, taking time to observe every expression, feeling the silence between the words, we can truly hear the emotions behind the sentences. Slowing down helps the other person feel understood, comforted, and not alone. Just listening with full attention, we offer a priceless gift, true presence and sincere empathy. Slowing down is also a way to reconnect with oneself. In moments of stillness, when not influenced by work, information, or external pressures, the mind has the chance to rest, recover, and see more clearly what really matters. People often chase fame, achievements, or external desires, forgetting that spiritual values, true emotions, and simple joy are what nourish the soul sustainably. When we slow down, every breath, every feeling, every thought becomes clearer, and we can easily recognize what is worth cherishing and what needs to be let go. One evening, after a long, tiring day, sitting by the window looking out at the star-filled sky, slowly sipping a warm cup of tea, we realize that what seems ordinary contains subtle beauty. The shimmering light on the water's surface, the sound of wind through the roof, the warmth spreading in the heart. These small details, if rushed, would be missed. But when we slow down, we see harmony, we feel the rhythm of life around us, and we recognize the changes within ourselves. Slowing down not only brings peace, but also helps us live deeply, with awareness of every present moment. Slowing down also helps us cultivate patience and tolerance. When everything moves at a slower pace, we learn to wait, to not be in a hurry, to not force or push everything to fit our will. Just like when we care for a young plant, we must water it, pull out weeds, observe every change, every new leaf. We cannot force the plant to grow quickly, nor can we neglect the small care. Slowing down helps us understand that everything needs time, and patience and perseverance are the foundation for good things to grow. In Buddhism, slowing down is not stagnation, it is mindfulness, living fully in every moment, clearly identifying every action, feeling, and thought. When we slow down, we have the chance to observe ourselves, to better understand the emotions, desires, and motivations within, and from there, live fully, love, and empathize more with others. Slowing down helps us see the beauty and simplicity, the preciousness of every present moment, and the simple happiness that we often overlook. A simple life story illustrates this clearly. A person walks through the park every morning. At first, they hurriedly walk to complete the journey, only focusing on the destination. But one day, they slow down, stop by a tree, listen to the birds, watch the sunlight filtering through the leaves, feel every step on the grass. They realize that the joy is not in walking quickly or completing the distance, but in the sensations, in the small details along the way. Slowing down helps them see the beauty around them and feel themselves more deeply. Slowing down to see more clearly is also a lesson in gratitude. When we live fast, we often forget the simple things: a family meal, sincere words, a friend's smile, or the warm light of the morning. When we slow down, we have the time to appreciate and feel these things, realizing that happiness is not something distant or grand, but always present in simple moments and everyday experiences. Slowing down is a way of living, an attitude, and a way to nurture lasting happiness. It helps people understand the value of the present, see the beauty in small things, listen deeply, and live fully in every moment. Slowing down is not weakness or retreat, but a way to live deeply, to see everything more clearly, to calm the heart and open the soul, ready to embrace the good, the peaceful, and the meaningful around us. Non-judgment is one of the precious lessons taught by the Buddha, so that our souls can find peace and healing. When we observe things as they are, without quickly labeling or rushing to judge right or wrong, good or bad, we can truly see the essence of all phenomena. Mindfulness, or clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, or feeling, is the foundation of living without judgment. It helps us keep our hearts open, gentle, and fully present in every moment. In daily life, there are many times when we get caught up in judgment, judging others, judging ourselves, or judging circumstances. But when we learn to observe without labeling, we realize that emotions are just temporary waves, and events are just natural phenomena. When anger or disappointment arises, instead of blaming ourselves or others, we quietly observe, recognize the emotion, and let it pass. The soul gradually calms, and the inner conflicts are soothed. Non-judgment is also a way to heal. When we stop categorizing things as right or wrong, good or bad, negative emotions like anger, jealousy, worry, or resentment no longer have the chance to take root in the heart. We learn to accept all things, all emotions with compassion, showing tolerance to ourselves and others. Every breath, every heartbeat becomes a grounding point to help us stay awake, see clearly every moment, and cherish it. In relationships, non-judgment helps us listen and understand each other more deeply. When talking to someone, instead of quickly offering judgments or advice, we focus on listening attentively, observing what they say and what they don't say. We realize that everyone has their own journey, their own pain, and their own reasons for their actions. When we do not judge, empathy and understanding open up, and the connection between people becomes more sincere and warm. Non-judgment is also a way to love ourselves. Many times, we blame ourselves for mistakes or judge the things in us that are not perfect. But when we observe our emotions, thoughts, and actions without labeling, we learn to accept ourselves. We see that all emotions are natural, and every action is part of the growth process. From that, compassion for ourselves blossoms, and we are able to heal deep wounds in our soul. Living without judgment also helps us appreciate the small moments. When sipping a cup of tea, listening to birds outside the window, or feeling the sunlight on our skin, We do not rush to label or think about the past or future. Every experience becomes vivid. Every moment turns into a precious gift. The soul becomes gentler, lighter, and peace spreads in every breath, gesture, and thought. The Buddha once compared the mind to a lake. When disturbed by judgment, comparison, or anger, the lake becomes rippled, and it is no longer still enough to see the bottom. When we observe without judgment, the lake becomes calm. The soul becomes still, and we can see every phenomenon as it is, recognizing the value of the present and living fully in every moment. Non-judgment is a gentle breeze that calms the surface of the soul's lake, and from there, empathy, love, and peace naturally spread. Non-judgment also opens the door to gratitude. Gratitude for things that happen, whether good or bad, because every event brings lessons and opportunities for growth. Gratitude for ourselves for daring to observe, daring to recognize emotions without avoiding them. Gratitude for others because they help us see the imperfect aspects in ourselves. And through that, we learn to forgive and love more deeply. When we practice non-judgment every day, every moment becomes complete. In every meal, we savor the flavor and texture of food without rushing. In every conversation, we listen with our hearts instead of judging. In every small action, we give our full attention so that every gesture, every word becomes meaningful and sincere. Every moment becomes a flower blooming in the soul, making life more emotionally rich, peaceful, and whole. And in the end, you will realize that the most precious thing is not what we achieve, but the moments we live fully, with all our hearts, observing without judgment, and offering love through true presence. This very moment, as you read these lines, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to recognize, love, heal, and truly live. In the hustle and bustle of life, amidst the crowded streets, the blaring horns, and the rush of people, we can still find a peaceful corner for ourselves. Life sometimes resembles a busy market, loud and chaotic, where everyone is preoccupied with work, worries, and desires that never rest. But even in such a noisy place, if we know how to stop, breathe, and focus on each moment, we can still keep our minds at peace and find inner silence, like a small island in the midst of rushing waters. One morning, in the crowded market, while people hurry to buy and sell, one can choose to walk slowly, observe each stall, listen to the soft calls of the vendors, and smell the fresh scent of vegetables and fruits just picked. If you walk quickly, everything will blur into a meaningless chaos. But when you walk slowly, you notice the simple beauty and the vitality around, and a sense of stillness appears in your heart. It is the mindfulness and presence in each step that keeps the mind at peace, even when the world around is loud and busy. Maintaining peace of mind does not mean detaching from the world or ignoring what is happening. On the contrary, it is a way of living mindfully, being aware of everything around without being swept away by the chaotic emotions. A person in the market, when choosing items, can pay attention to prices while also listening to the sounds, laughter, and feeling the rhythm of life around them, all while remaining calm. They are not disturbed by the crowds or the noise, nor do they let tension or frustration enter their hearts. In those moments, peace appears naturally, like a refuge, a solid ground amidst the fast-moving world. A small story about maintaining peace of mind in daily life can be seen in the shopping habits of elderly people. They slowly pick out each bunch of vegetables, each piece of fruit, and gently converse with the vendors. The kind laughter, gentle gaze, and slow movement set them apart from the surrounding hustle. People see peace in the observation, in the full presence, and in appreciating the simple things around them. Sometimes just a few minutes of such mindfulness is enough to nourish the soul, making it lighter and more at ease. Maintaining peace of mind in a busy world is also about learning to accept. Not everything is peaceful or as we wish. Sometimes the market is so crowded that people jostle, the noise can be frustrating, and unexpected inconveniences arise. But if we know how to accept, not resist, or react negatively, our soul will not be disturbed. Acceptance does not mean resignation, but recognizing that everything is a natural part of life. and we can still keep inner peace even when the outside is chaotic. One afternoon, as one walks through a busy street, they can stop by a house porch, take a deep breath, and feel their breath in each step they take. The sound of car horns, the calls of street vendors, and the chatter of people seem to fade into the background, making space for the quiet in the heart. Just a few minutes of focus like that can make the soul lighter, the spirit more balanced, and the person ready to face the challenges ahead without being swept away by the external noise. Maintaining peace of mind is also about learning to listen and observe without judgment. When walking through the market and watching the people hustle, a person who remains calm will not feel irritated or jealous, but will simply observe, understanding that everyone has their own worries. Everyone is busy with their own goals. Observation without judgment helps us realize that external noise does not affect the inner self if we maintain inner distance, and peace can be maintained no matter how hectic the surroundings are. A common story illustrates this well. A person walks through a busy market every morning, their steps slow, paying attention to each stall, each smile from the vendors, each call of goods. They are not distracted by the noise, not frustrated or angry. When they return home, their soul is calm, lighter, and ready to start a new day full of energy and peace. This moment of tranquility arises from mindfulness, observation, and not letting oneself be swept up in the chaotic flow. Maintaining peace of mind in a busy life is also a lesson in patience and gratitude. When we know how to stop, breathe, and observe, we learn to wait patiently, to appreciate the simple things, a smile, a kind word, the soft sunlight, a warm meal. Gratitude arises from these small moments, making a person feel full and happy despite the hustle and bustle around them. In Buddhism, maintaining peace of mind amidst life is a form of mindfulness, being fully present, observing without getting swept away, feeling without reacting impulsively, and keeping the soul calm amidst all the changes. Mindfulness helps people realize that peace is not an external state, but an inner ability, a way we nourish and protect our soul. Even amidst the hustle of people and the chaos of sounds, we can still create a quiet space within, where happiness, joy, and serenity are always present. One evening, when the streets are lit and the traffic rumbles on, people are still busy. But just a few minutes spent by the window, sipping warm tea, listening to the wind blow through the roof, can calm the soul. This peace does not come from the outside, but from within, from the ability to maintain peace of mind amidst chaos, from recognizing and cherishing the present moment. Only when we maintain peace of mind can we truly see the value of simple things and learn to slow down, observe deeply, and love fully. Amid the noisy world, peace is a precious gift that anyone can find if they know how to stop, breathe, observe, and appreciate what is around them. It appears in every small moment. The sound of birds singing, a smile, the sunlight, the scent of flowers, or the wind's whisper. Maintaining peace of mind is not only a way to find inner calm, but also a way to spread positive energy to others, making relationships warmer and more complete. Therefore, amid the marketplace of life, amidst the rush and hustle of people, if we create an inner pause, we can still keep our minds at peace, find stillness and beauty in every detail, and live each day more fully. Peace is not something distant or grand. It is always present, right before our eyes, in every simple moment of daily life, if we know how to stop, focus, and feel. Mindfulness is not only present in meditation, in breathing, or in each meal. It is also the guiding light in every task, every daily action. When we apply mindfulness in our work, we not only complete the task, but also learn how to be fully present, reduce stress, and naturally enhance our efficiency. Doing something with full focus, with a peaceful mind, makes the work lighter, more complete, and every moment becomes a valuable experience. When working with a scattered mind, when we think about the unanswered emails, the upcoming meetings, and the unfinished tasks, work becomes a burden. Energy is dispersed, effectiveness decreases, and the soul is dragged into a whirlwind of stress. But when we practice mindfulness, we place all our attention on the present task. Whether drafting a document, reading a report, or replying to an email, we are fully present in every action. Each step becomes clearer, more complete, and the soul feels lighter as it is no longer pulled by the past or future. Mindfulness in work is also a way to heal stress and fatigue. When we focus on each step, each detail, instead of judging or comparing, we learn to observe without being swept away by negative emotions. Worries, fears, or insecurities no longer dominate us. Instead, there is a gentle focus and clarity. When the mind is calm, we realize that work is not just a responsibility or duty, but also an opportunity to experience, to learn, and to nurture patience, compassion, and understanding. Practicing mindfulness at work also helps develop creativity and a sense of responsibility. When the mind is fully present, we can see the details clearly, find new solutions, and make decisions with clarity. When working with a peaceful mind, energy and effectiveness no longer come with stress but become natural and sustainable. Each task, big or small, becomes an opportunity to cultivate patience, focus, and dedication. Mindfulness also helps build more meaningful and friendly relationships at the workplace. When talking to colleagues, instead of quickly reacting or judging, we listen attentively, recognize their emotions, and respond calmly and sincerely. This presence not only creates connection, but also opens up opportunities to heal quiet conflicts and create a lighter, more peaceful work environment. Learning to practice mindfulness in work is also learning to love oneself. When we do not blame or pressure ourselves for small mistakes, when we observe our faults without judgment, the soul calms down. Each step, task, and action becomes a complete experience where we both complete the work and nourish peace and self-confidence. Mindfulness at work helps us realize the value of each moment. When we write each line of a report, read each email, or perform a small task, if we focus completely, every moment becomes precious. No need for great achievements or standout work. Simply being fully present creates a difference in our experience and brings positive energy to those around us. The Buddha once compared the mind to a lake. When disturbed by anxiety, stress, or greed, the lake ripples, and we can no longer see its depths. When practicing mindfulness at work, the soul becomes calm, and every action becomes clear and meaningful. Gentle focus allows us to see every detail, recognize the value of the present, and live each moment fully. Work is no longer a burden, but an opportunity to cultivate patience, compassion, and awareness. Moreover, mindfulness at work is also a path to gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to work, gratitude for colleagues, gratitude for one's abilities, gratitude for challenges because they help us grow and train the mind. When we practice gratitude, the soul becomes lighter and work becomes more meaningful. When practicing mindfulness daily, each task becomes a valuable experience. In every meeting, we listen deeply. In every email, we write with full attention. In every small task, we focus completely. Each moment becomes a blooming flower in the soul, making work no longer stressful, but a path leading to peace, efficiency, and inner happiness. Finally, you will realize the most valuable thing is not achievements, fame, or results, but the moments when we work fully with both our mind and heart. Work, when done with mindfulness, becomes an opportunity to heal, to learn, to love, and to truly live. This moment, as you read these lines, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to be aware, focus, and live fully in every second. Every day when we wake up, we step into a miniature life, where every moment contains life, emotions, and opportunities for growth. A day opens like a new page of a book, with the unknown ahead, joys, challenges, and lessons to learn. Waking up, living, closing, and beginning again, these silent rhythms never repeat themselves. And in each of these rhythms, we find meaning, growth, and peace. In the early morning, as the sun just rises over the horizon, the birds chirp and the gentle light shines through the window, the soul is still fresh, as pure as a blank sheet of paper. A day begins with slow breaths, small gestures like making a cup of tea, washing the face, or having breakfast, all of which hold simple beauty if we pay attention. The morning rhythm is a beginning, where we prepare our energy, arrange our thoughts, and reflect on ourselves. Even small tasks like tidying up the bed or setting the table contribute to building a foundation for peace throughout the day. From these seemingly ordinary tasks, we learn to be present, cherish every moment, and nourish our souls with full attention. As the day progresses, work, communication, and responsibilities begin to occupy our time and minds. Amid the busyness, each decision, each action, each word contributes to the day. A meeting, a conversation, a smile, or a glance, seemingly small, but each has weight and meaning. Every day is an opportunity to practice patience, perseverance, love, and empathy. Challenges are not just pressures, but also chances for personal growth, teaching us how to maintain peace and live more deeply. During the rare moments of quiet at noon when we pause our work, sip tea, or take a few steps outside, the soul has a chance to recover and feel the rhythm of life around us. The rustling leaves, sunlight filtering through the trees, the breeze through our hair. All of these become a source of comfort and a reminder that every moment is precious. When we slow down, we realize that each day is not just a series of tasks or duties, but a sequence of experiences where every emotion, every thought is worth appreciating. A simple story about everyday life illustrates this clearly. A person goes to the market every morning, walking slowly between the stalls, picking out vegetables, fruits, and chatting with the vendors. The laughter, the gentle looks, and gestures of the people around make their soul calm, and they feel peace in that moment. Upon returning home, they prepare a meal, paying attention to each small detail, and find happiness in the simple things. A warm meal, sunlight on the table, birds singing outside the window. The day passes, but it leaves a sweet aftertaste, reminding us that each day is a miniature life worth living and cherishing. In the evening, as the light softens and people return home, the rhythm of life slows down, and we have the chance to reflect on what is past. It may be a meaningful conversation, a sadness that has faded, or a sudden joy. When we learn to stop, observe, and feel, we can see the value in every moment. A sincere word, a gesture of care, a simple smile. All of these are the building blocks of that day. Closing a day is not just about putting down the work, but about recognizing, appreciating, and remembering what is past, learning to let go of worries, and preparing the soul for the new day. At night, when the sky darkens, the yellow lights spill through the window, and the sounds of the wind and rustling leaves are heard. People turn inward, listening to themselves, acknowledging their emotions, thoughts, and experiences of the day. Writing in a journal, meditating, or simply sitting quietly with oneself helps to calm the soul, realizing that every day, whether joyful or sad, is a complete life with all the emotions and experiences it brings. Closing a day is closing a miniature life, and through that, people learn to cherish each moment, to love, to be patient, and to live more deeply. Each new day begins as an opportunity to start over, to correct, to love more, and to live more fully. The daily rhythm is a lesson in repetition, but never boring. Waking up, experiencing, learning, loving, then closing and beginning again. Like a river that never stops flowing, each day is a part of the current of life, both similar and different, both simple and precious. Each day is a miniature life that reminds us of the importance of the present. When we live each day fully, paying attention to each moment, we learn to look deeper into ourselves and the world around us, recognizing the value of simple things and finding happiness in seemingly small experiences. A morning cup of tea, birds singing, sunlight, a smile, or a sincere word. These simple things are the elements that create serenity, the happiness that no material thing can replace. Amid the busyness, pressures, and chaos, if we learn to observe and appreciate, we will see that each day carries its own meaning, and every moment is worth living. Waking up, living, closing, and starting again. This seemingly simple rhythm is a process of nurturing the soul, cultivating peace, happiness, and wisdom. When we realize this, we will know how to slow down, pay more attention, and deeply feel each moment in our daily life. Therefore, each day is not just a series of passing hours, but a miniature life, a complete journey with all the emotions, joys, sorrows, challenges, and lessons. By learning to live each day as a complete life, cherishing every moment, maintaining peace of mind and gratitude, one will find simple happiness, deep peace, and a more meaningful life, regardless of how noisy or chaotic the world around them may be. Enjoying the sounds around us is a way to fully live each moment. The soft sound of rain falling on the roof, the breeze rustling through the leaves, the lively chatter of people. All of these are present, simple gifts that are incredibly precious. When we listen attentively to each sound, our minds no longer race towards the past or future, but become still, gentle, and fully present. The Buddha taught about mindfulness, clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, or feeling, which is the path to learning how to listen to and appreciate the sounds of life, thereby nourishing the soul, healing, and finding peace. Sound is not just noise. Every sound carries a message, reflecting the life that is unfolding around us. When rain falls, we can feel the rhythm of nature, the moisture, and the smell of wet earth. The soft sound of wind passing through windows or rooftops reminds us of the continuous motion of the moment passing by. Listening to laughter or conversation, we recognize the presence of people, the connection, and the warmth from these simple daily interactions. Mindfulness helps us appreciate all these sounds without distraction or judgment, just by feeling and being present. Enjoying the sounds around us is also a way to heal. When the mind is tense, anxious, or tired, pausing to listen to the sounds helps calm the soul. There's no need to seek absolute quiet. Simply listening to the rhythm of rain, wind, or laughter will lighten the heart. These sounds become anchors, helping us return to the present moment, recognize our emotions without judgment, and let worries flow away. Sound also helps us connect with ourselves and others. When we listen fully, we not only hear the words, but also feel the emotions and states of mind of the person creating the sound. We learn empathy, understanding, and love more deeply. Every word, every laugh, every breath becomes a bridge to connect hearts, to offer sincere presence without the need for flowery words, but enough for others to feel the care and love. Mindfulness in listening to sound is also a way to love ourselves. When we take time to listen attentively to our surroundings, we also learn to listen to ourselves. We become aware of our feelings, thoughts, and the needs of the soul. When the mind is still, we feel lighter, less tense, and each breath becomes deeper and slower. Sound becomes the thread connecting the body, the soul, and the present, helping us heal from exhaustion and pressure. When we practice mindfulness each day, every sound becomes a part of the living experience. The sound of rain becomes sacred, the wind reminds us of the rhythm of life, and the voices of people reflect connection and love. We realize that happiness is not far away, but exists in every sound, every breath, and every present moment. The Buddha likened the mind to a lake. When anxiety, anger, or greed disturb it, the surface of the lake ripples, making it impossible to see clearly. When we listen mindfully to sound, the lake of the soul becomes still. The still mind fully perceives each rhythm of sound, and every moment becomes vivid and meaningful. There's no need for judgment or control, just presence, listening, and understanding. Enjoying the sounds around us is also a way to express gratitude. We appreciate the simple things we often overlook, the life unfolding around us, every person and every event that enriches our experience. We are grateful for the imperfect sounds as they teach us patience, how to listen, and how to recognize beauty in the simple things. Gratitude lightens the soul, brings peace, and opens the door to love. When practicing mindful listening every day, each moment becomes precious. In the sound of rain, we find serenity. In the wind, we feel the natural rhythm. In laughter and conversation, we see connection and love. Every breath, every sound becomes a small miracle, healing the soul and uplifting the heart. Every moment becomes vibrant. Every experience a blooming flower in the heart, making life deeper and richer in emotion. Ultimately, you will realize that the most precious thing is not what we have or achieve, but the moments we are fully present with our whole heart, listening, feeling, and enjoying the sounds around us. This moment, as you focus on every sound, every rhythm, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to recognize, love, heal, and truly live. Speaking may seem like a simple task, but it is truly an art that requires attention and mindfulness. In the rush of life, people often listen briefly, react hastily, or judge immediately when words come out of another's mouth. However, when practicing mindfulness in communication, listening to others without rushing to respond or judge, each conversation becomes an opportunity to connect, understand, and empathize more deeply. One evening, while sitting next to a friend who was talking about a difficult day, if we only listen half-heartedly, we will miss the hidden feelings behind the words. A trembling voice, a fleeting sad glance, or a pause in the conversation. These all contain emotions and reflections that, without attention, will pass unnoticed. When we listen with full presence, our hearts open and we embrace the unsaid, allowing the speaker to feel understood and accompanied, even if it is only through silence and attentiveness. Mindfulness in conversation is not just about remaining silent, it is about fully focusing on the other person. This means paying attention to their words, tone, eyes, gestures, and the pauses between sentences. In these moments, the listener is not concerned with responding, comparing, or judging, but simply being fully present. This presence creates a safe space where the speaker can open up, share their sadness, worries, or joys without fear of rejection or misunderstanding. A simple story illustrates this. In a small family, a child talks about a failure at work. If the listener hastily gives advice, argues, or compares, the conversation will quickly end without any connection. But if the listener simply listens, pays attention, nods occasionally, or smiles gently, the speaker will feel lighter, their worries will gradually fade, and their self-confidence will be restored. Such a simple yet mindful act creates a healing power that words or arguments often cannot provide. In work, mindfulness in conversation also brings significant results. A meeting, a discussion, or even a phone call will be entirely different when people know how to listen fully. When there is no interruption, no judgment, and no rush to offer an opinion, information is received in its entirety, and the needs and emotions of others are clearly understood. From there, decisions are made more thoughtfully, relationships become more harmonious, and the energy in communication remains positive. Mindfulness is also a way to cultivate patience and humility. Not everyone speaks in the way we want to hear, or shares things that are easily understood. Some stories are long, convoluted, or even contradictory to our viewpoints. But when we maintain mindfulness, we learn patience, refrain from reacting too quickly, and recognize that listening deeply is more important than proving who is right or wrong. This is also a way to respect others, understanding that everyone has their own world, their own experiences and perspectives that we may not fully comprehend. One evening, after a long, busy day, sitting with loved ones, the conversation may revolve around seemingly small things: a trip to the market, a new dish, a neighbor's story. But if we listen mindfully, we will see that these details contain emotions, silent concerns, or simple joys that the speaker wants to share. When we focus, we recognize the value of every word and learn to appreciate the simple moments in daily life. Mindfulness in communication also helps reduce stress, conflict, and misunderstandings. When we rush to react or judge, it often leads to hurtful words or negative emotions. But if we pause, listen fully, and only respond when truly necessary, we create a peaceful space where both sides feel respected and safe. This is how we build lasting relationships based on understanding and empathy, rather than relying solely on reasoning or debates. Another everyday story about mindfulness is when listening to a neighbor share their concerns about children or work. If we hastily offer advice or judgment, they may feel misunderstood or unheard. But if we simply listen, nod, smile, and ask a few questions to encourage them to continue, the neighbor will feel lighter, their loneliness or anxiety will lessen, and the relationship between the two will grow warmer and stronger. The power of presence and mindful listening in that moment is truly miraculous. Mindfulness in conversation also helps people realize the value of silence. Not everything requires a response, an opinion, or a need to prove something. Silence, when held at the right moment, is a way to listen, reflect, and create a peaceful space for both the speaker and the listener. That silence is not an empty gap. It is a bridge where emotions and meanings are conveyed naturally and profoundly. When practicing mindfulness in communication, people learn to live more deeply, to understand themselves and others better. Listening is not just about receiving information, but also about recognizing emotions, empathizing, and nurturing compassion. Every conversation becomes a lesson in stillness, patience, and presence. Through this, one can experience simple joy, sincere connection, and inner peace, even on busy or difficult days. In Buddhist teachings, mindfulness in conversation is a way to nurture wisdom and compassion. By listening without judgment, not rushing to react, we open our hearts and create space for sincerity and understanding. This is a lesson in how to slow down, observe, feel, and appreciate each moment in communication, and from that, spread positive energy to everyone around us. Finally, mindfulness in conversation reminds us that every word, every moment of listening has value. When we know how to listen fully, we not only help others feel understood, but also learn to observe ourselves, control our emotions, and live more deeply. In the fast-paced rhythm of life, maintaining mindfulness in communication is a way to nurture peace, appreciate relationships, and enjoy the richness and subtlety of ordinary moments. Learning how to rest is not just about stopping work or taking physical rest. It's also about spending a few minutes each day sitting quietly and observing the mind. This is one of the simple yet profound methods of healing, nourishing the soul and living fully in each moment. When we sit still, listen to our breath, and observe the thoughts and emotions that arise, the mind gradually calms down, stress, anxiety, or sorrow is released, and we return to the present moment fully. The Buddha taught that mindfulness, the clear awareness of what we are doing, thinking, or feeling, is the path to freedom and peace. Learning to rest in mindfulness helps us realize that the mind does not always need to chase after work, plans, or worries. Sitting quietly for just a few minutes, observing each breath, we recognize thoughts and emotions passing by without judgment. We see the impermanence of everything, and in that stillness, we find relief and inner peace. Sitting still to observe the mind does not mean disconnecting from the world around us. On the contrary, it helps us connect more deeply with ourselves and with what is happening around us. When the mind is still, sounds, light, tastes, and physical sensations become vivid and complete. We notice the miracles in the simple things that we often overlook: the rhythm of breathing, the heartbeat, the warmth of sunlight, the rustling leaves outside the window. Every moment becomes a precious gift, and gratitude slowly blossoms in the soul. Learning how to rest is also a profound healing method. When the mind is stressed, when worries and sadness dominate, taking time to sit still helps us realize the source of those emotions. Rather than fleeing or reacting habitually, we observe them as passing waves without clinging or resisting. In doing so, emotional wounds are soothed, and we feel the internal freedom and the power of self-compassion. Sitting still is also a way to develop patience and focus. When we spend a few minutes each day observing the mind, we train the mind not to be swept away by endless thoughts. We learn to return to the breath, to the present moment, and realize that happiness is not something distant, but exists in every simple moment. This ability to focus and be patient not only helps us in meditation, but also positively influences all actions, relationships, and daily work. Learning how to rest also helps us love ourselves deeply. When we sit still, we recognize the tension, fears, anger, or sadness without judgment and learn to release them. We realize that all emotions are natural, all thoughts are temporary, and observing them without reacting is a wonderful way to nurture compassion. When we love ourselves, we also become gentler with others, and every gesture, word, and action becomes fuller and more meaningful. Sitting still in mindfulness also opens up opportunities to be grateful and appreciate the simple things. We are grateful for ourselves for taking the time to observe, grateful for the moments of stillness, grateful for experiences, whether good or not so good. The soul becomes lighter, and in that silence, we realize that happiness is not in achievements or fame, but in stillness, in every breath, and in each present moment. Learning how to rest every day transforms seemingly small moments into precious experiences. Every breath, every heartbeat, every emotion is fully recognized. The mind is no longer scattered, and the soul is no longer dragged by worries or pressure. In each moment of stillness, we learn to live deeply, love, and heal. The Buddha once compared the mind to a lake. When disturbed by anxiety, anger, or greed, the surface of the lake ripples, and we can no longer see the bottom clearly. By sitting still and observing the mind, we make that lake calm. With a tranquil soul, we recognize the value of every moment, every breath, and every emotion. Every moment of stillness becomes a miracle, helping us heal, nurture compassion, and appreciate each moment of life. Finally, you will realize that the most valuable thing is not what we achieve or possess, but the moments we pause, observe, and live fully with all our hearts. Learning how to rest every day brings not only peace, but also healing, love, and living truly in the present. This very moment, when you sit in stillness, listening to your mind, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to recognize, love, and appreciate each present moment. In the hustle and bustle of life, people often tend to do many things at once, replying to emails, answering the phone, sipping coffee, and thinking about how many tasks need to be completed today. But when the mind is divided, each task loses its completeness, and the result is not as expected. On the other hand, when we focus on one task at a time, we not only complete it better, but also feel the meaning, depth, and joy in each action. One morning, while preparing a cup of tea, if you focus solely on the process, watching each drop of hot water, inhaling the aroma, and observing the color of the tea, that moment becomes full of meaning. Every gesture, from holding the teapot, pouring water, to lifting cup to your lips, becomes part of the complete presence. No longer are there scattered thoughts about work or tasks ahead. Only focus, stillness, and appreciation for the present moment remain. A cup of tea made with such mindfulness becomes a meditative experience, bringing lightness and peace to the soul. In daily life, small tasks like washing dishes, sweeping the floor, tending to plants, or organizing books hold similar significance. If done hastily, the brain simply performs a series of automatic actions without presence. But when done slowly, focusing on each movement, one can feel the liveliness, rhythm, and beauty of each detail. Washing dishes is no longer a chore, but an opportunity to cultivate the mind, nurture patience, and find peace in simple things. A small story about focusing on a single task can be seen in daily work. When sitting in front of the computer to write a report, if the mind is distracted by phone calls, emails, or other thoughts, the content becomes disjointed and the effectiveness is reduced. But when you decide to fully focus on writing, turning off notifications, and setting aside all distractions, each word becomes clearer, more logical, and the writing process becomes a deep, fulfilling experience. Not only does the result improve, but the process itself also brings joy and a sense of completeness. The same applies in communication. When speaking with someone, if your mind is split between thinking about other things while listening, the connection diminishes. But when you focus entirely on the person opposite, paying attention to their words, expressions, gestures, and emotions, each conversation becomes an opportunity to understand more deeply, empathize, and build a genuine relationship. Mindfulness in each moment allows one to recognize the value of the present and understand that every action, every word carries meaning when done with full attention. Focusing on a single task also helps reduce stress and pressure. When multitasking, the brain becomes overloaded, leading to fatigue, anxiety, and mistakes. But when we choose to do one thing at a time, all energy is directed into that action, effectiveness increases, and the soul relaxes. One afternoon, walking slowly in the park, paying attention to each step, breathing, and feeling the rhythm of life around you, your soul may become more peaceful, and even worries or tension seem to fade away. Another everyday story illustrates this. When preparing a meal for the family, If you are cooking while replying to messages, watching TV, and thinking about other things, the meal becomes rushed, lacking spirit, and prone to mistakes. But when you focus entirely on cooking, paying attention to each spice and gesture, not only do you create a better dish, but you also find joy in each step. Stirring, seasoning, and arranging become meaningful experiences, and the meal becomes more complete, both in flavor and emotion. In learning or skill development, focusing on a single task also yields surprising results. When learning a new concept, practicing a sport, or developing a professional skill, dividing attention makes the process longer and reduces its quality. But when you concentrate fully, the brain absorbs information better, skills improve faster, and enthusiasm naturally arises. Just a few minutes of complete focus can achieve superior results compared to hours of scattered effort. Focusing on one thing also helps nurture wisdom and compassion. When acting fully with attention, everything is done meaningfully and responsibly. In communication, when listening to others without distraction, you understand their emotions, needs, and concerns, thereby empathizing and understanding more deeply. In work or study, focus helps complete tasks well, create quality results, and reduce stress for both yourself and others. Mindfulness and focusing on one thing is also a lesson in presence and appreciation of each moment. Every day, from small tasks like making tea, cooking, and sweeping the floor, to bigger tasks like completing work or caring for family, becomes complete when done with full attention. From this attention, people realize that joy and meaning lie not in quantity or speed, but in the quality and presence of every action. Finally, focusing on one task reminds us that happiness and peace do not come from doing many things at once, but from living fully in each moment. When you know how to stop, focus, and complete a task with all your mind, you feel the meaning and joy in that action, realizing that every moment is precious. In the hustle of life, focusing on one task is a way to nurture peace, improve efficiency, and find simple joy in everyday life. Every action, no matter how small, carries meaning when performed with attention, and it is this attention that creates value, helping people live more deeply, fully, and happily. Not being swayed by materialism is a profound lesson that the Buddha taught to allow the soul to be free and peaceful. Realizing that true wealth is living fully in the moment, enjoying the present, and appreciating simple things is the path to happiness and healing. When the mind is not influenced by wealth, fame, or external things, we truly see the value of life and feel inner peace. Material things always have a strong allure. Money, fame, houses, cars, everything is considered a measure of success and happiness. But when we are overly influenced by these things, the mind becomes weary. Greed and comparison arise, and happiness seems always out of reach. The Buddha taught that true wealth is not about having many things, but about being fully present in each moment, feeling the breath, heartbeat, sunlight, the sound of birds, the laughter of those around us, and the peace within our own hearts. Living free from the influence of materialism helps heal the daily stress, pressure, and anxiety. When the mind is not chasing desires for ownership, not worrying about what we don't have, or comparing ourselves with others, the heart becomes calmer. Worries, fears, anger, or envy are recognized without attachment, and we learn to let go. That space is where peace grows, a space for the soul to breathe, recover, and nurture gentleness and compassion. Not being influenced by material things also helps us appreciate the simple things. A warm cup of tea, the soft morning light, the laughter of children, or the smile of a loved one. These are priceless treasures that cannot be bought with money. When we recognize the value of these simple things, we begin to appreciate each moment, each experience, and happiness no longer depends on external things. This is true wealth, wealth in the soul, wealth in the present, and wealth in our relationship with ourselves and others. Living without being influenced by materialism also helps build sincere relationships. When we don't prioritize status, wealth, or achievements, we learn to listen, share, and love from the heart. These relationships are not based on benefit or appearance, but become natural, simple, and complete. Sincere presence in each moment becomes a priceless gift to others and simultaneously heals us. Mindfulness in living without being influenced by material things also helps us understand that happiness is not out of reach but always present in the here and now. When we focus on our breath, listen to our body, observe our emotions, and identify our thoughts, we realize that every moment is a valuable treasure. There is no need to seek far, no need to compare, no need to chase endless desires. Happiness and peace can bloom right here. Those who practice living free from material influence also learn to love themselves deeply. When there is no comparison, no judgment, and no chasing after possessions, the soul becomes gentler. We recognize our true needs, learn to take care of ourselves, and develop compassion. Inner wealth helps us be more patient, love more, and fully experience the simple happiness around us. The Buddha compared the mind to a calm lake. When influenced by greed, anger, delusion, or material things, the surface of the lake ripples, and we cannot see the beauty and value around us. But when we live free from materialism, the mind lake becomes still. With a calm mind, we recognize that true happiness and wealth are not outside but exist in each breath, every moment, and in the way we love ourselves and others. Living free from materialism also opens up opportunities for gratitude and appreciation. Being thankful for simple experiences, for every present moment, for the people around us, and for ourselves. Gratitude lightens the soul, brings peace, and opens the heart. When we appreciate, each moment becomes a gift, each experience a valuable lesson, and every second of the present becomes priceless wealth that no material can compare. When we practice living free from materialism each day, every moment becomes vibrant and meaningful. In the morning sunlight, the sound of birds singing, the warmth of a family meal, or the laughter of loved ones, we realize that true wealth is found in our hearts and perceptions. Each moment becomes a miracle, helping us heal, nourish, and cherish life. In the end, you will realize that the most precious thing is not wealth, status, or achievements, but the moments we live fully, with all our hearts, free from the influence of materialism, and knowing how to enjoy inner wealth. This very moment, as you read these words, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to recognize, love, heal, and live fully in each present moment. Each morning, when your eyes open and you realize that you are still alive, you have a priceless opportunity, the opportunity to begin anew, to live fully, and to appreciate each moment. Waking up is not just a natural event of the body, but a spiritual gift, reminding us that each day is an opportunity to love, to learn, to heal, and to create meaningful experiences. When we appreciate the opportunity to wake up, we realize that each day is precious, and the value of life lies not in grand things, but in the way we live fully in each present moment. In the early morning, when the gentle sunlight streams through the window and the birds chirp outside the porch, these are reminders of life and presence. A new day begins, and in the first breath, we can feel life flowing through our veins with each breath and heartbeat. Being grateful for the opportunity to wake up calms the soul, dispels any lingering worries or tension from the day before, and opens up space to live the day fully. Whether it's simple tasks like making tea, washing your face, or taking a few steps outside, when done with gratitude, each action becomes meaningful and complete. In everyday life, being grateful for the opportunity to wake up is not just about self-awareness, but also a way to recognize the value of everything around us. The morning light, the scent of coffee, the laughter of children on the street, the warmth of a coat, all become precious when we realize that every moment is an opportunity to live, to feel, and to connect. Appreciating these simple things helps the soul feel light, peaceful, and teaches us to slow down, observe, and feel more deeply. A small story about gratitude for the opportunity to wake up appears in ordinary mornings. A person wakes up after a long night of rest, steps out onto the balcony, breathes in the fresh air, and sees flowers blooming. Gratitude quietly fills the heart, reminding that every day is an opportunity to love, connect with others, and do meaningful things. It is this gratitude that makes ordinary things special, and turns each day into a complete journey. Gratitude for the opportunity to wake up also helps us recognize the value of the present. In the rush of life, people often get caught up in worries, plans, or regrets about the past, forgetting that each day is a unique, unrepeatable gift. When we learn to appreciate the moment of waking up, we learn to be fully present, recognizing and feeling everything around us with gratitude. These peaceful moments, though brief, become precious time to nourish the soul, heal wounds, and create joy from simple things. One morning, walking slowly in the park, hearing the rustling leaves, the birds singing, and feeling the sunlight on our face, one can feel life filling them. Each step, each breath, each gesture becomes an opportunity to practice gratitude. Waking up, feeling the body, and realizing life is still present is the greatest gift, reminding that each day is a blank page to write our own stories. Gratitude for the opportunity to wake up also helps us approach the challenges of the day with a positive attitude. When facing difficulties, pressure, or challenges, instead of complaining or worrying, gratitude reminds us that we still have the opportunity to confront, learn, and grow. Each problem becomes a lesson, each challenge an opportunity to cultivate patience, perseverance, and problem-solving abilities. Realizing this, one no longer feels weary or helpless, but learns to live proactively, fully, and with peace. In communication and relationships, gratitude for the opportunity to wake up also brings profound value. Every morning, waking up is an opportunity to love, listen, and care for those around us. A simple greeting, a caring gesture, a smile, or a warm hug all become meaningful when coming from a place of gratitude and awareness that each day is an opportunity to connect. These small acts create joy, bonding, and a sense of completeness in life, helping one realize that happiness is not far away, but in the simple moments around us. Another everyday story illustrates this. A person wakes up after an illness, feels the regular rhythm of their heartbeat, takes deep breaths, and the body is full of vitality. Gratitude rises, reminding them that each day they are alive, still feeling, and still loving is a precious gift. They care for breakfast, walk slowly, talk with loved ones, and each action becomes complete and meaningful. That day, though simple, becomes a journey full of joy, vitality, and value. Gratitude for the opportunity to wake up also helps us realize that happiness does not depend on great or distant things, but from appreciating each present moment. A simple morning, a hot cup of tea, sunlight streaming through the window, the sound of birds singing, or a loving word, all become pieces of happiness. When we learn to appreciate, the soul becomes calm, worries or anxieties fade away, and each day becomes a meaningful, complete, and peaceful journey. In Buddhist teachings, gratitude is a tool for nurturing compassion, wisdom, and peace. Gratitude for the opportunity to wake up is the first step of mindfulness, helping us recognize the value of the present, live more deeply, and appreciate every moment. Practicing gratitude each morning, every day becomes precious, each action meaningful, and one can feel simple but profound happiness from being fully present in every moment. In the end, gratitude for the opportunity to wake up reminds us that each day is a gift, an opportunity to live fully, to love, to learn, and to heal. Waking up is not just a biological event, but an opportunity to practice gratitude, appreciate the simple things, and live more deeply. When we realize this, we live with a light, peaceful, happy, and complete heart, despite the fast pace of life or the challenges outside. Gratitude for the people around us is one of the most profound lessons taught by the Buddha, allowing our souls to find peace and healing. Family, friends, strangers, all are interconnected, forming relationships that create valuable experiences and help us grow. When we recognize the value of those around us and learn to appreciate and be grateful for them, our hearts open, compassion flourishes, and each moment becomes more vibrant and meaningful. In daily life, we often forget to appreciate those who are closest to us. Family meals, small conversations with friends, or the quiet help from others around us are often overlooked. But when we learn gratitude, we realize that every relationship, big or small, brings lessons and opportunities for growth. Each word, gesture, and action can become a cause for understanding love, patience, and tolerance. Gratitude is not just words or gestures, it is a way of living fully within our relationships. When we listen to others without judgment, when we take time to share and care, we are practicing gratitude. When we recognize the quiet efforts of loved ones, the simple acts filled with love, our hearts become tender. Gratitude helps us connect more deeply with others, creating harmony and sincere love. In family relationships, gratitude helps heal conflicts and misunderstandings. When we cherish every moment with parents and siblings, when we recognize unconditional love and silent sacrifices, our hearts soften. Words of blame, anger, or comparison are replaced with appreciation, and the relationship becomes closer, warmer. Mindfulness and gratitude helps us see the value of every moment with family, without allowing trivial things or misunderstandings to dominate. With friends, gratitude nurtures bonding and loyalty. When we cherish friendship, care about each other's emotions and needs, the friendship becomes deeper, stronger, and more meaningful. Every conversation, every shared moment, every helping hand becomes an invaluable gift, an opportunity for our hearts to expand and cultivate compassion. When we are grateful, there is no space for envy, rivalry, or resentment, but instead joy, empathy, and sincere sharing. Even with strangers, gratitude helps us recognize that every connection has value. A glance, a smile, a small word can bring joy, comfort, and lessons for the soul. When we appreciate these connections, we learn to open our hearts, reduce prejudice, and feel the natural bond between people. Gratitude helps us see the beauty of humanity in the simplest things. Gratitude also heals the soul. When we recognize the value of those around us, when we appreciate and feel what they bring to our lives, any wounds, stress, or resentment within us gradually fade away. The soul becomes calm, and compassion and love grow. Through this, we learn to let go of unnecessary things, reduce comparisons, jealousy, and self-blame, making space for peace and inner happiness. The Buddha compares the mind to a lake. When disturbed by anger, greed, or resentment, the lake ripples and loses its clarity, preventing us from seeing the bottom. When we are grateful for those around us, the lake of our soul becomes calm. With a quiet mind, we realize the value of every word, every action, every moment, and understand that happiness is not external, but always present in our relationships and in the appreciation of the connections around us. Gratitude also opens the opportunity to slow down, listen, and feel deeply. When we truly take the time to focus on others, we realize that every meeting, every shared word, every kind action is a gift. Our soul becomes calmer, our heart opens, and we learn to live fully in each moment, recognizing the deep value in every connection. When we practice gratitude every day, every second becomes precious. Each conversation, each hug, each sincere word becomes a small miracle, nurturing and healing the soul. Every relationship becomes an opportunity to learn love, patience, empathy, and live fully. The soul is no longer pulled by anger or anxiety, but is gentle, peaceful, and filled with love. In the end, you will realize that the most valuable thing is not wealth, achievements, or fame, but the moments we cherish and appreciate the people around us, living with our whole heart, and recognizing that true wealth is love, connection, and complete presence. This very moment, as you read these words, is also an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to be aware, to love, to heal, and to truly live in every present connection. How long has it been since you truly stopped, took a deep breath, and felt each of your breaths? How long has it been since you listened to your heart and recognized the precious moments passing by? Life doesn't wait, but every second can become a gift if we live with mindfulness, being fully present in each breath, each emotion, each action. Mindfulness is not something complex or difficult for anyone. It is so simple that you can practice it while drinking a cup of tea, listening to the birds outside the window, or feeling the warmth of the morning sunlight on your skin. It is the awareness of each moment without rushing to judge, without chasing the worries of the past or future. When you focus on the present, your mind calms down. Each thought, each emotion is recognized without attachment, and you find peace deep within. Living mindfully every moment is also a way to love and connect. When you listen fully to the person in front of you, you give them the most valuable gift, sincere presence. When you observe your own mind without judgment, you learn to be kind to yourself, gentle with your wounds and imperfections. When you are truly present, you recognize the simple beauty around you, from sounds, light, and scents to the smiles, words, and care of those around you. Mindfulness is also a remedy for healing. It helps us release stress, worry, anger, or regret, and realize that everything is temporary. When the mind is still, you will feel lighter, love more, and live each moment more fully. Moments that seem small become opportunities to nurture gratitude, appreciate yourself, and value the connections in life. Therefore, take a few moments each day to breathe slowly, observe your emotions, feel your body, and be present in each beat of life. Let those moments become places to recharge, to soothe your soul, and remind you that happiness is not far away, but exists in every breath, every moment, every gentle touch, or simple smile. Be gentle. Don't pressure yourself to be perfect. Every time you stop, every time you observe, every time you focus is a small but incredibly valuable step on the path to mindful living. Let mindfulness become your breath, your rhythm of life, and the way you love yourself and those around you. I wish you a peaceful day, filled with love and complete in every moment. I wish you find lightness in every breath, warmth in every smile, and stillness in every thought. Each moment of mindfulness is a gift, and I hope you realize you are holding the most precious treasures, the present, yourself, and those moments of living fully with your whole heart. Remember, you can always start right now, from a single breath, a moment, a glance, a smile. Life becomes beautiful and full of emotion when you live mindfully. Every second, every breath, every experience. Allow yourself to be gentle, still, and loving so that every moment becomes a gentle miracle, deep and full of meaning. Sincerely, thank you for taking the time to follow along. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Let Go Find Peace to continue the journey of rediscovering peace in your soul.